3, 2, 1. All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Golden Dunkers Live. This is actually the first day of officially March Madness, so why not kick it off with the Golden Dunkers Live before you go tune in to the first four and take your weekend off. So a special episode today, Minnesota Golden Gopher legend. You see the jersey in the background. You see the basketball in the background. A few accolades for the man. Today we have Ralph Sampson-III. What's up, Ralph?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
You
you honor me a little bit with the whole legend thing. That feels kind of weird. Usually, my dad's name or associated with legend, but it has a nice little ring to it. Put it on my name though.
No, I think so. I think it works. If you're in Minnesota, if you're a Golden Gopher basketball fan, like for me, a legend is a name that's synonymous, in that community. I think if you're a Golden Gopher basketball fan, you know the name Ralph Sampson. You know what he's done for the program. Maybe the pregame intro. You know the hook shot. It's one of those things that people, they just don't forget. But Ralph, what's going on with you? I mean, it's been a while, but first, before we get started, I always like to ask, how are things with you? How are you doing?
Doing well. Just out here trying to stay safe. COVID is real out here, so trying to stay healthy. But with that, it's been, since leaving Minnesota, it's been a interesting ride, actually. We'll probably get into it a little bit more, but really, how have you been? We've been a while. We catch in touch a little bit every here and there, but I guess people really don't know. We used to be roommates back in the days.
Yeah, no, that's funny. Yeah. That is a story most people don't know. That's a time, very confusing, scary time for me, as most people know or don't know. I came in as a preferred walk-on, which is, someone that's recruited by the coaches, but usually not known too much by the players. So Ralph being my first roommate, it was actually definitely a scary time for me, but I'm really appreciative just of the time we had. I think if there's anybody you can be with, that'll probably be more welcoming and not too intimidating, it's Ralph. He helped me in there.
I think people got almost probably debate you on that one. I got people think I'm intimidating just by my stature alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a different feel. But
I mean, off the bat, obviously being a basketball person, I knew the name, but I even didn't know, one, who your dad was. Two, I'm pretty sure when I came, you were doing workouts for the NBA. So you were just somewhere working out. And so like me, I'm a preferred walk-on, like, yeah, all right, here's your roommate, Ralph Sampson III. Like, oh, okay, like senior, like he's okay, cool. Now I'm like, and they're like, yeah, he's just training for the NBA right now. I'm like, okay, dope. This is gonna be interesting. Like, and then you weren't there for a little bit, but it was a good time. And one thing I'm very appreciative of Ralph, I have to give him his flowers now, and I'm very thankful that he was in this position. Ralph was one of few people who had a car on our team during that time. And if you are a Minnesota athlete in general, and especially a basketball athlete, where we had numerous 6 a.m. workouts.
Man, every day.
Having the opportunity to have someone as a roommate with a car that you can drive and ride with to practice every day, oh man, that was definitely a lifesaver and a game changer, because not a lot of people on our team had them, and the only people that did have them were ones that were somewhere off campus. So it was a good time. But Ralph, man, let's get going on things. Let's just kind of get Gopher fans warmed up first. And for people that don't know, just jump in a little bit, man, about just growing up in the hoop scene, man. How did you even get to the Gophers? Like really growing up playing basketball, I would say in the Atlanta area. But you probably would correct me saying just Georgia area in general. Just talk a little bit, man. Just talk about how you got the ball in your hands, just your upbringing and everything about that.
Yeah, sure. So, of course, I think it's probably obvious, but my dad is the kind of the jump start, the spark that kind of led me to playing basketball. I always wanted, go his route and kind of follow in his shoes. Yeah. Then I always want to be, just a little bit better, just to kind of I can brag on myself a little bit more. But then my mom was really the one that kind of the motivation, kind of the engine behind everything. When Like I wanted to, like I had games, YMCA's when I started, games, practices. She was there to kind of take me there. How to know you playing youth league, did little snacks, and then you get after games and juice boxes and all that stuff. And mom would be the one putting all those together. And then growing up in Atlanta and in Georgia in general, just a hotbed for basketball talent. And so I think actually, so when I approached high school, I played very little AAU at the time. I think actually 1 year we won nationals, I think, when I was like 10. So I don't really count that really too much. But when I got to high school, things kind of completely became real, really, if you will. And so like my AAU team, all of us actually had a scholarship to go play somewhere.
Who'd you play AAU with?
Georgia Stars.
Okay,
And
yeah,
so,
Georgia Stars still running things in the UIBL.
Oh yeah, always, right? Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played all over the country. We we had like I said, a plethora of talent. And then we like what people don't know, the basketball world is actually really small. Like everybody knows everybody. I think maybe 1 or 2 degrees off from knowing somebody else.
For sure.
And so but then also, like, I actually went to 3 different high schools growing up. And so one of the high schools I went to was actually in Alabama, and went to a high school called Butler up in Huntsville.
Okay.
And he's probably I'll still credit him to be one of the best coaches I've ever had. He really kind of took me under his wing and showed me really how to be a pro before I ever became a pro. Taught me how to really maximize my talent on the court. And he really instilled, which I think is really important for coaches, but really instilled confidence in me and faith in me at a young age coming into it. And so like he really just kind of rolled the ball out and said, "Hey, go get it done. Like go get the win."
Right.
And it's like, I'm going to make mistakes, and he allowed me to make those mistakes. And then when it was time for me to come out the game, he would teach me and coach me at that point. And so really allowed me to develop my game. And so then I'm kind of springboarding off of that. Like I said, playing AAU, getting on the AAU circuit, and all of that is like when offers start to come in.
Yeah.
And so actually, it's between Minnesota and UGA.
Okay.
They were arguing about who offered me first. And so at the time, Coach Smith was the one recruiting me. Mm-hmm. And so I had offers to go like almost everywhere, honestly, all the East Coast, down south, even a couple out west.
Was Coach Smith, was Tubby the main one recruiting you, or who on the staff was really going after you?
It was actually Coach Taylor, Vince Taylor was recruiting me a lot, and also Saul Smith.
Okay.
And so they were kind of the ones that were kind of in contact mostly. And it boiled down to like Minnesota, University of Kentucky, and like Georgia Tech. Mm-hmm. That's what it boiled down to. And I ultimately chose Minnesota because they're graduating seniors in my position, come in right away as a freshman, get some valuable experience, valuable playing time right away. And then also Coach Smith was in his second year there, and I wanted to be part of something like special, that rebuilding phase. Right. And so kind of come in and make some noise right away. And so that's how I ended up in Minnesota.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Who during that time, getting recruited by them, was there other teams like in the mix, or what was your thing during that time? Was it leaning towards Gophers? Was it only Saul and Coach Taylor at the top of your text thread, or who always hit you
up? No, I had like Seth Greenberg with at Virginia Tech at the time. Getting messages from him. Getting, like I said, I would come home from school and there'd be letters, like bags of letters, just sitting there waiting. Mm-hmm. Ironically, so East Carolina was heavily recruiting me as well. So funny thing is, I have a younger brother who actually ended up going to East Carolina, and so we actually
Rob, right?
Yep, exactly. He's actually overseas in Romania, playing professionally right now.
Okay,
but it was interesting because we could have been on the same college team together because he actually went to East Carolina.
Yeah, that would
have been interesting for sure. But we had UGA was heavy in there as well. Georgia Tech was very heavy. Like I said, they're right down the street, pretty much where I am right now. and they were really just. So we had a good amount. Clemson was in there as well. They were kind of a favorite in there too, and so I think all those, and then I would say Kentucky as well, and that was when Bill Gillespie was the head coach there.
Makes sense. Makes sense. That's what's up. Well, I'm glad you picked the Gophers. It makes sense. It's the right time. But talk a little bit about that. Just talk about that first year on campus. Gophers playing time, man. How was it? Everybody, I mean, that transition, you say you really kind of got groomed to learn how to be that consummate professional by that mentor of yours. But how was it when you first stepped on campus? I mean, how was it playing for Coach Smith, Coach Taylor, Coach Smith again, Saul? You know what I mean? No, it's different when they're texting you versus when you've committed to them. Now it's like, all right, you're not going nowhere now. So talk a little bit about that transition to getting there.
For sure. I mean, that's what they say, right? They want you until you sign that letter of intent. And it's like, okay, I got you. And it's on to the next guy. But so my first year on Minnesota's campus, it's definitely interesting because you go there in the summertime, you take summer classes, so you prepare for the upcoming season. And so in the summertime, Minnesota, everybody knows, it's beautiful, warm. I was walking around just like flip-flops, athlete attire, and then just kind of rolling around the campus. And then when it got cold, though, that first winter hit, and like you said in the beginning, we are running a timed mile at 6 a.m. And so that means we have to be on the track at 6 a.m. That means you got to wake up at like 5:30.
Man, talk to me about that real quick, because that's a comment we have all the time right now. And some people look at me like, man, y'all have to run a mile like that. I'm like, yeah, like as guards, because I'm like, the fastest mile I ran prior to college was about 7 minutes, 8 minutes. We get there and they're like, yeah, guards, they were like, yeah, you have to run a mile under 6 minutes. I'm like, under 6 minutes? They're like, yeah, but you're a guard? Guards have to run them at 5:30.
5:30, yeah, 5:30.
Guards at 5:30, and then big men, right, pushing 6. They have to run it under 6 minutes. Like, yeah, that's how Tubby does it. Like, talk to me about having to run an under 6 minute mile as a near 7-footer. Like, was it?
Well, they were trying to turn to the track stars for real.
Man.
But so just to kind of paint the picture, I said we had to get up around like 5. We had to walk from, I didn't have a car at the time. We had to walk from, so you got a little better because I had a car. We could at least drive in there. But I had to walk from where we lived, which is like right outside Dinkytown, down to the gym to change. And that's where we all met as a team. Then we met as a team. We jogged back to Bierman, where the track was. That was our warm up. And then we had to run our times mile there. Now, in the wintertime in Minnesota, trying to run a time mile, coming from a Georgia boy coming down south, it's like that wind hits your lungs and it feels like your lungs are bleeding from the inside.
Man, it's like it's 6 a.m., dog. Like, it is not warm by any means.
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. And then, but the crazy thing is that you're running, and so I'm not a distance runner. Like, I hate distance running.
Right.
Sprints, different story. I can run sprints all day long. Distance running, I'm not. I'm just gonna put out there. Don't test me on the distance run. I'm not gonna make it. But I'm running this mile, and I'm looking over. The coaching staff. We're usually running in like shorts and like a long sleeve shirt. Yeah. That's pretty much all we got.
Maroon shorts and a gray long sleeve shirt.
Yes. Exactly. Those are the ones. And then you look over though, and you get the whole coaching staff in full on like sweats and coats and drinking coffee. And it's like, man, you look at them sideways, like, man.
And because they look like they just woke up. Like, I just woke up. Luckily, I don't gotta do nothing. And we like, I just woke up and I got anxieties. I gotta run a 5:30 mile.
Exactly. And then the thing is, so if you didn't make the mile, you had to get run the next day. And so that was the rule when the U came along. Before that, though, we just ran it every day until the season started. Until the first day of practice. That's the day we stopped running the mile. But it was a consistent thing. And so then the crazy thing is, so after that, we had to, after running the mile, we had to jog back, to the hockey arena. And that's where we lifted. And we lifted there, and then we had individuals after, and then had to go to class.
Right.
And so, it was for a student athlete, it's a big adjustment because like we have practice in the morning time, and we actually had practice, so like 8 a.m. practice. Sorry, no, before that. It was before that because we had class at 8 a.m. And so we'd run a full practice, then walk to class, and it's like trying to just hang on, honestly.
Bro, that's all it is. The transition, that's first summer, like I don't know why, but like, I mean, I guess I'm just naive to the idea that we even had to go in the summertime. Like I'm graduating high school thinking, yo, got my last summer of high school, get some workouts in, then we're gonna go somewhere. I finally had my meeting with Coach Smith in like May. Like that's when I said, all right, I'm going to Minnesota. He talked to me about how we're gonna make it work. He's like, all right, yeah, our guys are reporting. This man said next week. I literally thought I was dreaming. I said, what? He said, next week. I said, next week. And so, boom, pack up the car, go up there. And that transition, especially like that mile run, I think is like that's what really makes you like realize, like, yo, you're in college now. It ain't no
Yes.
It's morning, 6 a.m. It's cold. You're running a mile. You're like, it's different. Like it was in the summertime, even you weren't even there. And your pro workouts, JUCO guys aren't there usually. They're doing their stuff. And then just a select few, like Mav wasn't there because he's from Cali. He was doing something else.
Yep.
And so like, it's almost like the full team really comes in the fall. We're doing the real workouts, the real mile run. And it's quite the transition. Like, I guess
it definitely is. It definitely is. And then, so the funny thing is too, is like when I got there, you know, we used to have like those runs in the afternoons. Like we were open gyms. And when I first got there, we had another center by the name of Jonathan Williams. And dude was like,
Big John.
Yep, Big John. Yep.
He a coach around the Minnesota scene right now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But so I was playing against him, and me coming to a freshman, you know, I'm just kind of a scrawny little kid, you know, compared to him. And none of my moves worked. None of them worked. Like I would try to drop step, I would drop step and go nowhere.
What year was he?
He was a senior.
Okay. Oh, so real.
Yeah. College. Yeah, he's been lifting all 4 years, you know. Got some weights under his belt. And so this is how the hook shot became a thing because nothing worked. And so in high school, I never needed a hook shot because I could always, you know, get to the basket one way or another.
Right.
And so when I got to college, going against him, I was like, none of my moves work. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try it. I'm just gonna try a hook shot. And it's really like I was the only move that consistently worked. And so then I was like, well, I'm gonna use it. And so then little known, I guess, I don't know if it's little known or not, but it turned out that using that hook shot and a couple of the outside jumper that kind of developed a little bit more, I ended up being scoring over 1,000 points. I think it's like 500 rebounds and like 200 blocks. And apparently I just found this, I knew of it, but I kind of reminded of it a couple weeks ago, was that I was one of 3 guys to do that in Minnesota. And it's Kevin McHale and Michael Thompson being the only other 2.
Yo, that's wild.
It is. I'm like, oh, I did all right there. I did all right in Minnesota.
That's a wild stat, man. But for people that don't know, that hook shot was lethal. And it's not like it's something I didn't know of, but just like you didn't use it in high school. So I never thought. But to be honest, I would have thought, man, coming into this, that you just did it since you were like 5 years old. Because I've never seen anybody who can go to a hook shot, and that thing is low-key money every time. And like, as a player on the sideline, I wish you were able to get to your hook shot at least 8 to 10 times a game. I think we could win a lot more games. Like, for real, like it was that unstoppable. That's a crazy story on
And the funny thing is, like that coach I told you about, his name is Jack Doss, and Bama. He's the one that kind of actually really taught me that hook shot, like how to break it down. Like I said, I never needed it. And then I got to Minnesota. It's like you said, turned out to be, this is kind of effective. This is kind of useful. But that's actually the thing about you said about like 5 or 10 times per game. Like that's, I think, the value added to the team that I don't think we appreciated was because like you could break it down and be like, look, and you afford your other teammates, like, look, if you get the ball, hook shot every time, just go for it, just do it. And then it's like you had like a move for everybody. There was like the go-to move, and like you analyzed it in that way, and so you were able to add, that extra, almost like coach on the bench that I don't think people really knew about, because like people don't really know what we talk about on the bench.
No, exactly. No, that's crazy. And that's crazy. I can imagine you freshman year now. First time in practice, you probably did a jab or something. Try to get into the paint. Big John threw you to the free throw. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly.
What should I do? All right, jab. You did this time. You did a little bump. You said hook. And you're like, oh,
yep.
That's it. That's crazy. I'm thankful that he was there for you, because I think he probably was able to get you a lot of points.
Oh yeah, man. We coming as a freshman, they beat you up pretty well when you first walk on campus. And then we got you pretty good too, like during those open runs, but it's kind of the customary thing to do.
Exactly. No, that's good stuff, man. That's a great story. But as we're going here I'm taking a slight adjustment. Like sun's going down, daylight savings throws you off. Yeah. You know how it is. No, but so yeah, since we already kind of got into a few little story time with the players, with the mile run, let's just talk about everybody's probably favorite stories to tell, especially from players like you and myself playing for legendary, Hall of Fame coach Tubby Smith, who we all respect tremendously. But there's obviously stories coming from someone who, like you and I talked about beforehand, pretty much your father figure, your grandfather figure, someone with a lot of wisdom, obviously, that we as young players probably weren't always looking to hear, especially in the times that we were told. But let's talk a little bit just about, playing under Coach Smith. So somebody like you, freshman, getting recruited by the staff and playing significant minutes and just being a significant part of the team from day one, so obviously, coaches, like, they ride on their bigs. Like, if they're gonna commit to a center that's coming in, they're expecting this guy to bring them a lot. So just talk to me, man. Talk to me a little bit about the relationship with Coach Smith and playing under the great coach.
Sure. So first coming in, like you said, as a freshman, Coach Smith really embraces the freshmen coming in. It was like really make sure like they have everything, they know like where they're going, and then Coach Smith is really I would call him a defensive disciple. Like he's really heavy on defense. I mean, first day of practice, literally all we're doing is like making sure our defensive schemes are in place, principles are in place, and everybody knows it.
Man, full defensive practices. No offense, no basketball.
Making sure that defense is on point every time. And so it's like actually that's the thing. Like that's what carried me actually through my entire career. From that point on, is that defense was always there, and it's always being in the right place at the right time, and you're that much faster. And so, like you said, for him to commit to a big man, it's really important because he's kind of the linchpin of the team, and it's on defense. Like most of the time we're towards the baseline, and so we see literally everything. And so it's up to the big man to call out what's going on and tell people where to go, what screens are coming, and then it's like you're literally battling with the other big man, getting the rebound, going down, then the run out to set what screen and come back, roll to the basket, come back out, set another screen, roll to the basket, fight for the rebound, going back and forth. It's a lot of responsibility that falls onto the big man. And so playing under Coach Smith, he really outlined those responsibilities that I had to do, and then made sure that I was able to fulfill those responsibilities. So then, though, but there was all those few stories out there about Coach Smith. I remember one time, I forget who we were playing, but it was against a team that we should have beat. Honestly, we should have.
You were just stories going.
We should have ran over them, but it was how bad it should have been. But we ended up, not performing.
Right.
And so we literally. So what happens is after games, we fly back to Minnesota. put everything on the bus, and then take the bus back to the gym. Everybody unloads their stuff, and then everybody kind of goes back to separate ways.
Right.
But on this particular game, we came back to Minnesota. It's about, I would say, midnight, 12:30. We get everything off the bus. Coach Smith goes, no, take everybody, get your stuff. We're going to the locker room, put your practice stuff on. We're practicing tonight. That's how bad the game went. And so we literally had practice that night. And so nobody got home till like 1:30, 2 o'clock. And then got up the next morning to have practice again, with like normal practice. Mm-hmm. And so then, so also it was like another little story that I think is a little less known story. So it's kind of an exclusive for you guys here is I actually had the opportunity to leave after my sophomore year. I had, I think it was a fairly decent sophomore year, in my opinion. I never like to toot my own horn, but I think it was a fairly decent sophomore year. And I had NBA scouts coming up to me and asking me, what my plans were for after the season. And I was like, I don't know. It was like, I'm trying to go through the season right now, trying to play my best game I possibly can. And so then the time came after the season hit, and I was like, you know what? Let's just test the waters. Like, why not just see what's out there? And so how the process goes when you test the waters, all the NBA teams, like the NBA actually sends a survey out, and then they will the teams will send it back and where they might potentially draft you at. And so that's how you know whether to go into the draft or to go back to school. And so so at the time, like I'm really going like to the office every day. Like, so did you get my results yet? Like, did you get my result? Like, I'm anxious, like, because right. What player wouldn't be anxious? You're testing the water. You just potentially like your dream coming true here. And so at that point, some things happened in that process. And then Coach Smith really was there to kind of open my eyes to a few things. Mm-hmm. And so it allowed me to really see a lot of experiences and kind of a deeper look into the process. And then it also in turn gave me a deeper look into Minnesota. Now I was able to really find out the results. And it actually turned out to be, highly favorable. And it was actually kind of a shocker to me. But then, like I said, some things happened, and then ended up finishing my 4 years at Minnesota. And so it's a little side story that a lot of people actually don't know.
No, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. When it came to you, as far as a mental process, what goes into the decision and to just how you're even looking towards college after like you hear those words like, hey, you want to leave, and you start really getting contacted by those NBA agents. Like, what's the shift? I know there's some type of shift in mentality. Like, looking back on it, how was it?
For sure. So it's like the first initial thought you have, it's wow, my dream is real. It's like it can come true, it can happen.
Yeah.
And it's so then you start looking at college, like all those miles we used to run, it's like, okay, they were worth it. all those suicides we used to run, they're worth it. All those, like everything, all the trials and tribulations you went through, like they all become worth it because like you see the light in the tunnel now. You see what got you there, what got you to that point, and it's like, okay, now I know what got me here. Now I can keep going and take it to another level.
Yep.
And so when I ended up going like my upper class years at Minnesota, it turned out to be, I'm really trying to push myself now. I'm really trying to, before it's like I was going to battle every night, but now I'm going to war every night. And so I used to get, fun thing is I used to get a lot of flack from, fans and be like, why don't you ever smile on the court? Why don't you ever look like you're having fun on the court? It's like, because I'm trying to kill somebody out here. I'm trying to take someone's head off. So it's like, I'm not going to, I can't, not everybody can be Andre Hollins. Right. Exactly. He smiles literally anything and everything.
So, assassin. This dude will drop 43 on you and smile about it.
Yes, the entire time. I'm gonna try to drop 30 and then be like, I'm gonna get that Kobe scowl on you and be like, no, like you're gonna feel this. You're gonna see all of it.
Mm-hmm. No, I know that's probably how it is, especially being a big man like Coach Smith, like we talked about with Coach Smith being the patriarch of the offensive defense, but also being that in the Big Ten. Like I feel like the big thing. That's the big thing. So yeah, man, let's tap a little.
There, sure.
Yeah, tap a little bit into that that Big Ten basketball, but also really just the matchups in general, in college. So first, let's just talk about it in general. It could be Big Ten, man, but let's talk to me about the toughest individual matchup. So the player matchup for you, maybe one or two. I don't want to make you singling out. If you got three, you got three. You had you played with some boys.
Yeah, every night, it was pretty much somebody. We had some of the bigger ones. We had different people, different teams offer different matchups, different things every time you're preparing.
Exactly.
So you had something like Ohio State, who had Dallas Lauderdale at the time. A really big body, and you had to know something about basketball. You have to know what your strengths and what your weaknesses are, and then play to your strengths, and then recognize what your opponent's strengths and weaknesses are. And so I know, like for instance, going against someone Dallas Lauderdale, he has physical size on me, but I had the height and the length, and then I also had the outside shot, and then that could always pull out. The elbow jumper was also probably second deadliest shot I had, other than the hook shot. And then you had the duo of Robbie Hummel and Juwan Johnson at Purdue, and they were a different perspective, because Juwan Johnson wasn't going to try to back you down and like push you in the basket. He was more of a finesse type player.
Right.
And then going against Michigan State with like Draymond Green was there. Derek Nix was there. And that was like more of the big body type. He was like, I don't know. No, he might forgive me if he ever sees this, but I would say close to 300 pounds, like 300-pound player. Where
I wouldn't argue with him. I would say he was mobile.
Yes, he was almost like a football type player. He was like, he had a big body, but he could move. Mm-hmm. And so it provided a whole different matchup. And so I had to use like I said, another time I had to use my length and my quickness and try to get around and try to shoot over him. And then, we also had someone like Ty Zeller or Cody. Sorry, Cody was at Indiana at the time. And so he's a big man, a 7-footer who could run. And he was going up and down. And so, like I said, every team had their battle. Every team had a different, unique perspective. And so here's another one too, is like in the Big Ten, like I said, every team had their guy, as far as suddenly who offered something different. But then I would say that one of the hardest guys at the cover was actually one of my summer when I was training the pro workouts. I actually was training up in Chicago with Enes Kanter was there. People don't know, like he's one of the strongest dudes that I've ever had to like go one-on-one with. I'm talking about the guy who will like hit you with a shoulder and it felt like your chest would cave in. You were moving if he wanted you to move.
Right.
And so but going up against him really prepared me for, those Big Ten battles. And it was like day in and day out. It's like you're wrestling with another guy who's 7 foot, could be anywhere from 260 to 300 pounds. And it's like every day in and day out, you're going to war.
Yeah. That's crazy that Enes Kanter is the one that prepares you the most probably for Big Ten basketball.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's talk a little bit just about Big Ten basketball, just in general, man. Team-wise, who were the toughest? I mean, you had a few years. I'm assuming your matchups individual probably correlate. I'm sure Robbie Hummel had some tough squads. I was around a squad with Zeller, who was particularly tough as well, that squad. So talk to me a little bit about just the toughest matchups in general, team matchups in the Big Ten for you.
In the Big Ten, I will start with actually I would say the funnest matchup, actually, team-wise, and that was always Indiana. I don't know why, but every time we played Indiana, they always just had it out for me. Every time we went there, it was always like as soon as I walked in, I wouldn't even like have scored a point yet. I wouldn't nothing like no block shot or anything, and immediately it was Sampson sucks. Immediately. And so then I was like, well, we're gonna have to go there today. And so I was actually able to feed off, those negative chants the same way that the other team was feeding off those positive chants. And so it turned into, a battle every time, and actually I loved it. I love the battle. I love, there's nothing like being on the court like with your brothers and like grinding a good like hard fought win out.
Mm-hmm.
And like and every time it's like they're trying the hardest, you're trying your hardest, and it's like I said, a battle every time.
And it's loud, like Indiana, that arena, it feels like they're on top of you.
Yes, it goes straight like this. It feels like it goes straight like this. It goes straight.
You never played in Indiana, like it's just hard to even describe it, but it's exactly like you just said. That shape.
Yeah. You really, and then the way their like student section set up is like they're like you really kind of feel like you're surrounded the entire time. Like you said, it's like they're right on top of you.
And then the voice echo.
Yes, it really does. So it's louder than it, especially when it's rocking too and it's electric like that. It gets crazy. Also, a couple of good matches were Michigan State, of course, with Draymond Green was there. Especially at Michigan State, there, the arena, the lower bowl, it seems like it's all student section, and they are on you the entire time.
Right behind the bench.
Yes, right there every time, like right in your face, no matter where you turn. And then
even in the warm up.
Yes, especially in the warm up, because their student section, they do their homework on their players. They are searching social media. They are digging in every little thing they possibly can to literally try to find what they can.
Bro, I can't imagine right now playing how easy it is, because when we played, Facebook was the prominent thing.
Yes, exactly. We were not like that.
I'm the 12th man on the roster my freshman year. If they have something on me, come on, man.
Like I can imagine how it's probably 10 times worse now. I mean, they're pulling up pictures of ex-girlfriends. They're pulling up everything.
Yeah, exactly. Everything. It was wild.
They knew everything. And then also, I would also say Ohio State has some good teams too. While I was there, one time I remember in the Big Ten tournament, we really ran. Pretty much ran the gauntlet. We played the first day. We made it all the way to the championship game, and we played Ohio State. Then that's when Evan Turner was there.
Yeah,
and we ended up losing the championship game, but because we ran the gauntlet in the conference tournament, we actually made it to the tournament because of that. And so it was like, but those Ohio State games,
they were like I ain't get to play them, but I know he was tough, probably.
Yes, and then the kind of the evidence behind that I really knew Evan Turner was tough like that was when he broke his back and he came back and it was continuing to play, and that's when he hit those half court shots and everything else, and it's like, okay, this dude got some heart for real. Like he knew how to play for sure.
No, yeah, I mean, we came there. They still had Aaron Craft at the guard position, and they had Jared Sullinger. And this is when Evan Turner was gone, but I mean, you had to go against Jared Sullinger as well. They had a few guys. They had a few guys.
For sure. I think his name was Deshaun Thomas too.
Yeah, that was
4-man. Yeah.
Bucket. Yep. He was just a bucket getter. That was a foul report. I think that's what Saul Smith said. Bucket getter. Just don't.
Yeah, he was like I won't say a garbage man, but he literally was like a hustle guy. Literally everywhere. Like, grab the rebounds, putting up shots, score. He kind of flew under the radar a little bit. He's like that sixth man that was kind of just there every time. He was going to him every time. It was like I said, they had Big Ten. People sleep on the Big Ten sometimes because they had some tough teams for sure.
Oh man, tough. It was some guys those teams. And I mean, you said Robbie Hummel, like the Purdue teams for me, even all 4 years were tough. Purdue's just always been so tough, and it's so hard to play at Purdue, I think. And Michigan, when Trey Burke came in that freshman year with us,
they were pretty good. I actually like to play Michigan when he was like kind of first coming in. Yeah, it was always some good battles there, and he was like, he was a young guy. He was trying to make his impact, so he was going for it.
Right.
And so it was like you said, he was trying to carry his team, and then we were trying to battle back, and it was a lot of back and forth there.
Yeah, it was fun. I like playing in their arena too. I liked their arena. It was obviously an away arena, but I liked the feel of it. The away locker room, I'm pretty sure if I remember, bro, it was lit. Like I think it was their old locker room. So
it was
a huge locker room. I'm like, oh yeah, they're accommodating. This is great. Big Michigan guy over here. But I did respect, man, John Beilein. Like I would say, is probably one of my favorite coaches of opposing coaches.
For sure. I mean, You know, I also was a part of opposing coaches. I was a fan of Tom Crean too, because he really like he kind of pulled players. And, like he really was like he ran his program, but he also made sure his players were, you know, had the head on right, and they took time to really care for the person who was other than just a player.
Bro, yeah, they were great. I really enjoyed playing against Indiana, battling against them, and just the energy that he brought on the other sideline. If there's somebody I remember from any coach, it's him.
Oh yeah,
He
because
was
he's
always up and down the sideline.
running up and down, jumping up and down, yelling. When his team was doing well, he was like yelling, chanting him on like he was a fan. And then it's like when the team was going down, he was like really trying to pick him up with his energy.
Yeah,
I think his players really kind of fed off of it. Really, like they really knew that he had their back.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And one of your front court counterparts, Trevor Mbakwe, he's huge on Tom Crean. He always talks just about Tom Crean in general. But man, that's a good segue. You are a part of probably one of the best backcourts, front court that I've ever been a part of. Like, I will keep it on it. Like, you and Trevor, when I saw y'all together, I was like, yo, this again is college basketball. Like, when like going to try and rebound as a freshman guard, it's like,
oh yeah, you weren't getting none of those.
I get it. None of them. Like, it don't.
I'll give you a point for trying though. You really ran in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, back then I was definitely trying to battle. I was lifting. I was doing everything just to be that guy. That's what Coach Smith said to be. But we all knew. Like, we all really knew. Dre, Mav, and them, they were already smart. They got it. Chip was the only guard that was allowed to kind of go in there because Chip was a little different. That man was an athlete. Chip was different.
Oh, it's true.
Chip was an athlete. But man, just talk about playing in that front court. Talk a little bit just about playing next to Trev. Like, I feel like that's something that I don't know. That's something that Gopher fans, when you guys were gone, they would just realize, like, wow, like that was like two really all Big Ten type talents, two in the same front court. So talk to me a little bit about that.
We had, like I said, we had some squads as far as post players go. My years at Minnesota, and you know, it was me, it was Colton Iverson, and Trevor Mbakwe. You know, we even got I don't know if you were there yet or not, actually.
When?
But it was Colton at the 5, Trevor at the 4, and then moved me to the 3.
Nope, I wasn't there.
Okay, so that was a time that I don't know if people still remember, but
bro, no, but I heard about these stories. So recap it. It is Colton at the 5, Colton Iverson, Trevor Mbakwe at the 4, you, Ralph Sampson-III at the 3 wing position, aka anonymously. And who was at the 2 and 1?
We had Al Nolan at the point guard, and then we had sometimes it was Blake Hoffaber, or sometimes it might have been Rodney too. So interchangeable sometimes at that position. And so we were super tall
at the 2.
Yeah. Yep.
So, Colton Iverson, Trevor Mbakwe, Ralph Sampson-III, Rodney at the 2, and then who was at the 1 usually?
Al Nolan. We had a squad there. I'm not gonna lie, we had a squad, and so it's like, so Colton Iverson is like, if people don't remember, he's my height, right?
Mm-hmm.
My height, and he's like really super strong, and so he would battle anybody down on the post. Yeah, and of course, you know, Trevor Mbakwe, another super strong guy, super athletic, gonna jump at the gym and try and dunk on whoever is down there, right? Rebound machine. Mm-hmm. And so then they moved me to 3 because I could pass. Like I would say arguably one of the better passers into the post. And then we ran a triangle, so that put me up at the free throw line because I could knock down that elbow jumper. And so we would like have that entire paint area like locked down. So then it's like when Blake was in the game, like we had a, you know, knockdown shooter in the corner, and then Al was like one facilitating everything. And so we, as far as like teams go, like we were definitely solid at that point.
Bro, and then that's a good team.
Exactly. And so then, you know, so then Cole ended up leaving, And so then it was kind of just me and Trevor kind of just going. I was a 5, he was a 4. And so we had a lot of the high-low offense. Coach Smith was a big fan of the high-low offense. And so, again, like I was working that high post area and had Trevor searching below. And then and at that time, I could be in the elbow and they're like, oh, yeah, Roddy's in the corner. He would sneak around that baseline side and then throw it to alley-oop. And then, he jumped off the gym anyway. So it became really kind of a more dynamic offense. And then on defense, forget about it. Like I'm blocking shots left and right. Trevor's getting off the ground in like a split second and blocking shots and like defensive rebounding. And like I said, we won a lot of games based off of just defense alone. And then being able to have so many different options on offense, being able to facilitate, being able to knock down that mid-range jumper, being able to battle in the post, and outside shooters, inside shooters. Just we had, like I said, we had some squads there for sure.
No, definitely has some squads, and y'all. There wasn't a time when it was you, Trevor, Rodney in the front court where we even thought about not being the top team when it came to rebounds or when it came to blocking shots. Like it was literally an automatic. We were spoiled with that. Like when you guys left, we were like, man, what happened? What happened? But man, as we wrap up here, let's talk a little bit just about life after basketball, man. What's been going on since that Gophers time? Really, and really more so after Gophers basketball. So, since senior night, since you waving, since you getting in that jersey, man, update people. What's been going on with you?
Yeah, so I guess just to recap a little bit, the practice after senior night, we coming in, we're just gonna like scrimmage a little bit, kind of get ready for the postseason. I'm going up to block a shot. Mm-hmm. Now we're playing, we're like in competition, so like I love competing. Yeah. So I'm not trying to block the shot. I'm trying to take it back and try to knock this thing into the stands. And so, but when I swing and I land, somehow like my leg lands kind of weird, and so my knee goes like in, right, and my kneecap comes out, and so I am down on the ground now, rolling around, grabbing my knee, and it's like knees different colors, black and blue. I like touch where my kneecap is, which is on the side of it, and it kind of just snaps back into place, like right there. And so that hurts even more. And so I literally had to, so I ended up missing like all the playoffs. And so that one kind of stung a little bit because like senior year playoffs, nothing more than I wanted to do than just battle with my guys, right?
Exactly.
And so then, but after that, ended up having to go through physical therapy, trying to recover. But then I ended up missing all of my pro workouts after my senior year because my knee wasn't strong enough yet. It wasn't good enough at the time. And so I actually ended up going to the minor leagues. At the time, it's called the D League. Now the G League. I was drafted into the G League. I was actually the only rookie to make the team, and so it was like I'm talking about guys with 6-7 year vets at the time, and the guys who played in the NBA, played overseas before, and I'm just I find myself like in that freshman mentality coming in,
right?
Trying to carve out my way, and so it's like I said, what I credit Coach Smith with is that defensive principles that he instilled at the time in Minnesota is what got me to feel like what kept me on a little bit of an edge above everybody else, being in the right place at the right time and being able to talk. So I played in the minor leagues, went overseas to play, came back to the minor leagues for up in Maine, the Maine Red Claws with the Boston Celtics minor league team at the time.
Yep.
And so then I was there and got that's something I grew a lot too when I was there, and I was able to. Really, the coach was the one that kind of like, again, it was kind of more like, this is your role, go get it done. And so it was like left up to me to kind of be creative in the way I did that. And so he really trusted me on especially the defensive side and talking wise and knowing, because for me, I'm the type of player who will not only just know my role, like of play, but I also learn the play from every position. So I'll know what the point guard's supposed to do, know what the guards are and the other wings player supposed to do. I know what everybody's supposed to do and what they're supposed to be at. So then it's like, if somebody's not there, I can yell at them and be like, no, I need you, I get over here. Right. Or I set this way. So, all right, so I'm sending it this way so you guys can roll this way. And all defense principles and all that stuff. And that all stemmed from, I think, Minnesota time. And so then I was projected to be up to the first call up to the Celtics. And then so I came back to the G League, and then we had people going up and down, up and down, up and down. And so then I actually was being kind of there to be on the Celtics. Yeah. And then that's when I actually tore my ACL. And then so it's a freak accident, nothing special. I wish it was something like cool, like I was dunking over somebody and tore it, but I literally took a step and my knee just kind of buckled. And I tore my ACL, tore my meniscus, and fractured my tibia all at the same time. Exactly. Your face says it all. Yeah. And so then tried to come back, but my knee just wasn't responding the way I needed it to. But before that happened, though, I was actually, when I was still playing, they have you go through these kind of like PR events, but the team was actually having a little basketball clinic for these little kids. And so they asked me to be a special guest there. So I went and I was teaching kids, running through some drills, having fun, kind of joking around with the kids and all that stuff. And so then they actually reminded me of the times when my dad used to hold camps. And so being a camp participant, then a coach in it, and I started thinking to myself, like, how can I kind of impact these kids' lives other than just showing up for 2 hours and then never see me again? Exactly. And so there has to be a more lasting impression or impact I can have. And so then I started to come up with this idea of kind of not only basketball training, but basketball mentorship as well. And so which actually developed into not just basketball mentorship, but complete mentorship. And so it turned into a whole business idea. And so that's what the shirt is, which is the L, which stands for Sports Academy. And it's actually one more time. It's a Legacy Sports Academy. Yep. So it's actually what I've created. And so not only do we teach kids like skills on the court, but we teach them about things surrounding even athlete life or just athlete mentality, kind of go in association with it. And so we teach like things like goal setting, character development, even talk about things like how important grades are, how do you get recruited, what can a college coach actually promise you when you're being recruited, versus, and then it's like so really you're getting the real story from real athletes who have been there, who have done it, and has made it to the professional level. And so I have a couple guys, even some guys from Minnesota, for my teams, and some professional guys who I played with who have given like some insight into these things as well. And so now it's like we're I'm gonna brag on Legacy a little bit right now, so I hope you don't mind a little bit. But all the kids, I have 100% success rate actually when it comes to a kid coming in and being like, who's never played on a team before, and like, I want to make my school team next season. And so then they'll come to me, I'll work with them, and then they will, every time so far, they've made their team coming into that upcoming season. And so one of the things about Legacy Sports Academy too as well is that we will not only just train you, like I said, we're going to come to your games. We're going to actually like show up and be like, we're going to be the biggest cheerleader in the gym besides probably your mom or dad. And then we're going to, like I said, we're going to break down your game for you. We're going to talk to you about it, see where your mind is. What were you thinking? We do film studies as well. Like I said, I really wanted Legacy to be the kind of person I needed when I was growing up, the basketball mentor I needed when I was growing up. And so that's really what it's all about. And then even now, so also one of the things we do, like I said, the whole film study thing, is that we will, if you actually go to my, you don't have to do it now, but if you go to like my Instagram account and under the bio link, we have something that's called a video critique. And so it's a way for me to actually try, because my online platform is still being built out right now. Yep. So for a way for me to kind of be there to help kids out without actually physically being there is they can actually submit a video of, let's say, a game clip or a drill or a move, and they can ask like, hey, am I doing this right? Or how does this look? Or how can I improve this drill? Or it'd be like, coach took me out after this play. I want to know why. And I can actually do that. And I will actually like break it down for them. This is what you did well. This is what you could improve on. Here are some drills to help improve on, help you improve. Or it'd be like, make sure, or if it's like a game clip, I'll be like, here are other options you could have done other than what you did. So that you have, when you go into the next game, like, okay, I see the situation again. Now I can adjust to it. And so really trying to be a one-stop shop for athletes in general. And so, like I said, trying to do my part to help kids really achieve their dreams. And then I'm sure you know, there's a lot of times like I went through this too, is like life after basketball. Like there's eventually that basketball does stop bouncing. And so you really need something that really kind of propels you forward, keeps you going, and give you a reason to wake up in the morning. And so it's like another thing is too is like when after college, right? Let's say you've never been overseas before to play. Now all of a sudden you're going overseas to play. What can you expect? What are some things you need to know? What are some areas you need to avoid? What are there's unfortunately there are some horror stories about playing overseas.
Exactly.
Teams not paying on time. What are your options? What can you do? What can you ask for in a contract when you go overseas? And so it's like these are the things that we also help even college athletes, other professionals out there. It's like it's really a network being built that's, like I said, basketball is really a fraternity. And so this is kind of like a house for it all. People can share knowledge with each other and kind of bounce ideas off each other. And really just trying to bridge the gap between professional and amateur, that knowledge gap is there.
Yeah, no, that's special. I talked to a lot of overseas guys, obviously two really close to me, my partner Ray and Dre Hollins, we have a lot of conversation about, even the comparison like NBA, right? That's professional. Like here, like even if it's small marketing deals, if it's areas, like you said, you're prepared for all that stuff. But overseas, like in the basketball community, we know they're literally just giving these dudes a passport, giving them the ticket. This is your team name. Call me if you need me.
Yes.
And then contractual stuff is wild. I've heard some crazy stories about, like you said, paying on time or injuries, things like that. So
like injuries go, like it's a revolving door. As soon as you get injured, if you can come back like quickly, it's like, all right, next guy. Like we're sending you home, next guy.
Right.
And it's like it's crazy. And then imagine there's the whole also like the social aspect of it. You go to a country and they might not speak English. And so and then the time difference, when you're awake, everyone here in the States is asleep. Man. And then back and forth. And so it's like you're literally on an island by yourself with nobody to talk to.
Except for your projector and Netflix.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And literally, like you said, that will like here's your passport, here's your plane ticket, and you're leaving on this day. And after that, like you land and you're like, okay, like, who am I looking for? You see a sign with your name on it. It's like, okay, this is my guy. They'll literally drop you off at the like apartment, wherever you're staying at. And like, okay. And then they show you like where the gym is. Like, okay, be at the gym at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And then leave. And it's like, okay, now what's next? My experience is like, so the first thing I do is like, I literally will go to find a grocery store. And so like, it was one in Finland. I was a little lucky because, the third language is English. So like everybody like our age and below, they can speak English. But so I went to the store. I literally spent 3 hours in a grocery store, walking down aisles, trying to figure out what things were. And trying to figure out because overseas like they eat different things. And so like I'm making sure I'm not eating anything crazy or wild. I need to stick to what I know.
Exactly.
And so it's like I said, it's not for everybody. It's a lifestyle. You got to know and prepare yourself ahead of time to mentally prepare yourself ahead of time to know what you're getting into and know what what's before you, because you can get over there and then walk into something you're not ready for and you completely hate it. And then it's like, but if you go in there ahead of time, mentally prepare for this, okay, I know this is familiar. I've seen it, I've heard about it before, I'm ready for this. And then you can go out there and just flourish and just really just go after it.
No, yeah, 100%. We got a couple more minutes here. Last thing I want to talk about, just the name. You talked about it earlier. Your dad's camps. You're the third. We talked about it earlier in the call, man. Just talk about the Sampson name, the Sampson basketball legacy, what it means to you. I come from a basketball family at the high school level, and I know how important it is at the micro level of our community. Just talk to me a little bit, man, about the basketball family. Your brother played there. Just, from your perspective, just talk a little bit about that.
Of course. So I guess the place to start at is, my dad. Everybody knows, see the name, they expect me to be kind of him.
Right.
Growing up, people, I don't know why it's like this, but people think that, they're quote unquote good if they were to beat my team in a basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
So it always like how you have a target on your chest, target on your back, people coming at you left and right. So you got to be able. So literally, I was getting beat up growing up in my basketball games, leaving bruises and everything else.
Because
what's that?
Because
all because of the name. They didn't know me from anybody, but because of that name, they were gunning for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a little bigger, a little older, a little bigger, and I was able to like hold my own. The thing about my dad though is he always was. His philosophy was play the game of basketball because you want to play it.
Right.
Don't play it because I play it. Don't play it because everyone wants you to play it or any expectations. Play the game because you have fun playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really the reason why I play basketball, because I have fun and I love being competitive.
Yeah.
And so then so the funny thing is, like, one of the reasons I named my company Legacy was a little play on the name, because it's like I'm his legacy, but then this is also like my legacy back to the game of basketball. Basketball's taken me like all over the world. It gave me a college education, taking me like different countries around the world, and now this is me coming back now and being like, now let me pay it forward. Let me help out the next guy. Let me help the next generation reach their goals. And so then so it's been especially basketball's been a little bit more of a ride, because Puma's come out with the re-release my dad's old playing shoe.
Yeah.
But it's actually a street shoe now that you can just wear, and there's all these crazy colors and different textures on it. I was like, some of them I'm like, you lost me with this one, but okay. But it's interesting because like now, because I got to do this, right? Because we share the same name. His name is on the shoe, so of course I'm gonna wear it and be like, nah, this is my shoe. Like my name is on this thing.
Yeah.
But it's definitely interesting, and so now it's even. My dad is actually involved with like a podcast and radio show now, and so it's like the name Ralph Sampson is coming kind of re-emerging now. It used to be like people, the older generation kind of knew who he was, but now it's like with me now it's like exactly. It's more memorable now, and people are kind of bringing back to the forefront a little bit more.
I mean, he's one of the greatest to ever do it. One of the greatest ever. Undefeated. I'm fortunate to be a roommate, like you said, that freshman year. I got to watch some film with him. I have an honor to even sit in a room, watch film about him critiquing your game. But real quick, number one skill or thing he taught you about basketball?
That's a good one. So actually, popped in mind right away. It was don't let. When I was growing up, the prototype wasn't really, everybody had their set position, right? If you were tall, you're a post player, you stayed in the post. Mm-hmm. You're guard, you stay on the wing or on the top, and there wasn't really any kind of, cross players or any versatile players like that. But he always taught me and trained me to, be a basketball player. And it was like, don't just train for your position, because, and again, basketball, as you can be caught up in any kind of position at any given time. You got to be able to know what to do and be able to still play and be effective. And so it's really like for him, most valuable is like, be a player. Don't be a robot. Be a player. If you see something, act on it. You make the reads. Have a reason why you did something. Don't just go out there and you just do it. Man. But just have a reason why. And then now you're like, okay, now you have evidence behind it. And then it's like, you want to shoot a three? Shoot a three. If you want to go to back to the basket and shoot a hook shot, shoot the double jumper. Go out there and be a player. And it's like, don't get locked in.
It helped you in making your adjustment to doing that hook shot.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the thing is too, is like, it was, so now, like, growing up for me, they want a traditional back to the basket big man. And it's like, in high school, that's the last thing I wanted to be. I wanted to be able to run, I wanted to jump, I wanted to be able to dunk over people, alley-oop, I wanted to be able to shoot threes, all of that.
You would have thrived in this era.
Was that?
You would have thrived in this era.
Exactly. So that's the point I was getting to. Like, now, complete 180. Now everybody wants the big man who can shoot threes, and they going far away from the traditional big man. And so it's like, well, if I just was born a couple of years later, I would have been perfect. But you know what? I was, honestly, I was just blessed to my time at Minnesota and my playing career, and really even now where I can just, like I said, pay it forward, play all this knowledge forward to the upcoming generations. So now I'm like really trying to, like I said, I train the kids I train now. I really train them to be complete players, because sometimes, it's easy to teach someone footwork in the post, and then they can still use it on the wing. And then sometimes it's easier, to teach them in the wing, and then you still use it in the post. Yeah. And so it's like, that's just this knowledge all around, just being a complete player is really something I've been blessed with in my career. And then, things we learned from Coach Smith, defensive wise, and then literally going overseas and implementing all these things. So now I have all this experience in it. Now it's like, here it is. Like, take it. That's what it's like now.
Yep. Well, man, I appreciate your time, Ralph. What you're doing for the community is dope. We're probably going to circle back, talk more about some updates with that,
sure.
And just talk a little bit more just about the importance just of growing the athlete. Like, it's huge. Like you just said, it's huge. So appreciate your time, man. And go Gophers. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today. And we will have another episode coming next week. And the surprise guest will be announced this weekend. So appreciate everybody. Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you.